The cashless society is one of the most important goals of the technocratic elite. If implemented overnight, chaos would occur. Proceed in steps to evade the majority of individuals as they adapt to new methods. Cash allows two people to transact without the knowledge of a third party. This is dangerous for any tyrannical government because they persist in knowing every detail of individuals' habits, what stores they visit, where their money is coming from, where it goes, surveillance to keep you, quote, safe. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. I want to talk about the cash bans and a whole bunch of other issues today. Let's begin right away with Taiwan. This is a translated article, so you'll have to take it for what it is right here. Now I got a little pop-up box. Let me show you this. Money laundering, buy a house, a car, jewelry, future to be banned cash. Okay, so what they're saying is big ticket items you're not able to pay in cash. Strengthen the prevention and control of money laundering, the Ministry of Justice, to promote large-scale transactions without cash. The first wave may lock real estate, luxury cars, and jewelry transactions, according to the provisions of the Money Laundering Control Law. There is good reason for this. Many countries have implemented similar tactics here. And this here, I can understand. There's a lot of money laundering going on. They're worried about terrorism and all this stuff. So they decide to ban cash transactions. But above the government sits a group of people that mold and manipulate things, and they have an agenda. Okay, that's pretty obvious. One of the items on that agenda is to implement a cashless society. So even if you are for the decisions here, you have to be against the globalists. That's the key. Whatever the globalists push, you need to be against it. Once the finalized after the sale of real estate, cars, jewelry, etc., will not be able to use cash. Must use non-cash payments such as credit cards, financial cards, checks, electronic payments, or remittances. This is one example of many that we have seen over the years. They've implemented small measures in the US in recent years. I've covered them here on the channel, where you'll see, for example, in businesses, small businesses are not able to move money over large sums of money overseas without it being acknowledged by the government, things like this, like little pieces to the more grand puzzle. If you just implement a complete ban on cash tomorrow, you're going to have chaos. You can't do that. There's a disruption that occurs. So what you do is you do it in little steps, and nobody really wakes up to it because it's happening so slowly, and it could take a generation for that to happen. But already today, let's say the millennials generation, they don't want to use cash ever. They want to use their Apple Pay. They want to use all these digital means, which I can understand the reasons why, but ultimately you want to have the ability to transact in cash. You don't want that to be locked out. What if, for example, you went to Kijiji, Craigslist, and you saw a vehicle on there that you wanted to purchase. You purchased from somebody else, and you give them $5,000, let's say, and they give you the vehicle. There you go. There's the transaction. Sign the papers. All done. Now, what if the government wants a piece of that because that individual is selling something? Oh, well, you got to pay taxes on that. You're making income. And then, of course, you're using cash. You're not supposed to be using cash. That's banned now. So you have to use some sort of electronic payments where the government can track and trace every single little piece of it. That's what I see. I see it as a big problem because you and I can't transact anymore. There has to be government interference, and I use that word intentionally. That's a very, very dangerous model, and it is really going on everywhere. We saw this happen in India. And the segue here is interesting because it's actually from Taipei Times. I found this. India's monthly oil demand fell the most since May 2003, as the government's crackdown on high-value currency notes continued to reverberate through the $2 trillion economy. And this here is something that is inevitable. When you make big changes, when you decide to pull back on anything that people are used to, in this case happens to be cash, you're disrupting business. And maybe the long-term situation is good or whatever. It's not a good idea to do this. It isn't necessarily a ban on cash, but the way I see it is one step towards it. And we don't need to be taking any more steps towards tyranny. We're heading too far already. That's what I'm saying. There'll be a lot of people on here, and it's funny. I'll comment. If you notice, occasionally when I feel it, I decide to be a little sarcastic in the comments, but essentially what you'll have is people coming out and saying, this isn't a ban on cash, you liar, you fearmonger. Why are you saying this? This is BS. You're a liar. I'm unsubscribing for the 4th time. Well, it's not that it happens directly like that. There aren't governments generally that implement measures that are so drastic overnight. It goes through a generation so that nobody wakes up to it. You don't want to have riots and upheaval. You want subservient slaves. And the only way you do that is to make people complacent. You make them poor, you make them dependent, and they will shut up. All right, let's move on here. Americans buying existing homes at the fastest pace in a decade. And they're talking about buying the fastest pace since 2007. I believe this is very significant. And then, there's different reasons why this could be occurring. I don't believe that the economy is doing well right now. I don't believe that people all of a sudden have all of this abundance of money that they're purchasing these homes with. I do believe that rental prices have come up significantly. That's one reason. You also have to factor in, as on the national level, the prices in the US are, I would consider them reasonable, but if you compare them to most places in Canada, as an example, the prices are low. I think in here it suggests it's 224,000 or something like this, but that's the nation as a whole, and it doesn't really give you a good picture. If you were to take, let's say, the top 10 cities in the US and sort of average that out, you would get a much different picture. So one of the other reasons I believe here is that whether they will have inflation expectations and as a result interest rates rising, that is considering part of the consideration. I do believe part of it anyway. And I'll just show you a chart of that which interconnects the existing home sales. And you could see, might be a little difficult here, but you're looking at the orange line, which this chart shows you from approximately 2013. And it's just, it's going up and down, but for the most part, it is heading up and up and up. And it remains to be seen where this will head over the near future. I see it as, not just one reason, and it's important to look at all of this, all of the data anyway. Now, copper prices zigzagged wildly when almost no one was trading. Whoa, how's that possible? I mean, traders and like investors and companies, they trade on the stock exchanges and the commodities exchanges and all the different markets, and that moves markets up or down, right? Like a lot of people get together and hedge funds and everybody, and they buy stock, let's say Apple, the Apple stock will rise, right? That's how it works, isn't it? I mean, that's what I was told. That's the fundamentals. That's the premise. Oh, that's not the case? Well, take a look at this. Copper prices were actually moving 100% $100 in 30 minutes. And I'll just get right to it. I'm going to show you the chart. By the way, I love to show you guys the explanation of everything and then show you the charts. I hope you appreciate that. Look at this. This isn't my, heart pace or heart monitor. That's basically what it looks like. It looks like that blip that you see in the movies. No. This is copper pricing. How is this possible that it's trading? And then you see afterwards, you take this approximately 60-70, and again, approximately 60-70, but in between, it's completely chaotic. How's that possible? What was that trader doing? Well, no, it's not a trader. And even in this Bloomberg article previous to this, it actually said specifically, oh, yes, this was computer algorithms screwing up. So you're telling me that the price of copper, a major industrial metal trading on these big exchanges, I'm not talking about a penny stock that's trading for 4 cents and it moves up to 6 cents and then moves down to 2 cents. No. I'm talking about copper on the London Metals Exchange. This is massive. Massive moves. And, just to quickly go back to it, I want to highlight this. An algorithmic trading system gone off the rails. Your money, your investments, if you're in paper and you think that you can outsmart the market, that's fine. I honestly believe if you think you can make money in it, do it. But you're funding and fueling the bankers. That's the way I see it. I don't play in those games. I don't have paper. I sold my last paper on December 31st, 2007. And because I knew what was coming. But anyway, look at this. Moving copper by $100, and there are so many people out there that will say, my money, I know exactly what I'm doing. And even if, there's a lot of people in the alternative news that they know what's going on, yet they recommend people buy stocks. And that's the danger. That's why I'm so fearful of it. I don't. In my first book, I talked about stocks. I talk about, the 4 asset classes. In my new book, I basically say that maybe there's a time and a place for it, but now it's just simply too risky. It's too risky. And this is why, even if you predicted it precisely, look at what could have happened in that time frame. Sure, everything came back to normal again, quote unquote normal, but you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to be left out of your money. It's dangerous. Use at your own risk. That's all I'm going to say. This is one very, very good example of why you cannot play around in the paper markets any longer. It's ready to explode. Okay, now here is something I can't even put the link in the description because YouTube will have something to say about that. But let's talk about it before their algorithms actually pick up my voice and ban it that way. John McCain makes secret trip to Syria in the midst of the U.S. assessment. And actually there was an individual from Hawaii, if it was, I'm drawing a blank, it was somebody from government position, one of the officials, head from Hawaii over to Damascus to actually meet with Assad. So I don't know what they're discussing. My presumption here is that, it's a secret meeting, of course. My presumption is that these meetings are about ISIS and to really talk about how they're going to proceed. Should we just directly bomb you or should we be nice? Should we play nice? I think that's sort of what it is. First, there's some diplomatic conversations. Do we continue to fund ISIS and then help you out at the same time? Or do we just roll the tanks in? This here was amazing. You've probably seen it already. This individual from MSNBC, quote, and it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, which I'm shocked that that's actually being mentioned. Anyway, Trump, could have undermined the message so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And the best part of all, And that is our job. It's nobody's job to tell you what to think. Not the president, not the media. It's you. It's not me. You take all the facts that I say, and then you go out there and you look them up on your own. Don't trust me. Don't trust a president or a prime minister or a parliament or a Congress or a councillor or an MP or somebody there who's supposed to be telling you the truth. No, you do your own research and you come up with your own conclusions. Never trust anyone. And for a little bit of light humor at the end, there they are, the lovely couple, to finish it off. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you will find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. You can actually look through the book. If you go over to Amazon, they have a look inside feature that will allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.